Thank you very much, Mr. Boparai. Now we are going to the last speaker before High Commissioner's concluding remarks. And last speaker, we deliberately chose that he should be Mr. Malik Babur Javed. He is Manager Publicity and Promotions, Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation. We wanted him to hear the whole discussion and respond to some of the issues which have been raised by other panelists or which have been raised in the chat room or which are usually raised because Pakistan government is doing a lot in the sector of tourism and sometimes we don't have sufficient information. So why not to listen it right from the horse's mouth from Manager Publicity and Promotion of PTDC. I've just before giving him the floor, I would like to read what we have been hearing in chat room and otherwise in Canada. Perhaps he can address them. For example, there was a simple chat room question: how can we book motels and hotels at PTDC? What about restoration of tourism for Christians? In north of Pakistan, there is a great opportunity of world-class winter sports. Is PTDC doing about something about it? And then there's one question to us that, and we will surely follow it up, that tourist guide and tourist map of Pakistan should be placed at website of Pakistan Consulate and Pakistan High Commission in Ottawa. Surely we would do it. And thank you for this suggestion. I would also like to read certain other aspects which are usually raised with us here, and that the training of tour guides is imperative for an informed tourism. In addition, skill-based trainings in tourism and hospitality management, which should be offered in technical vocational training institute in the provinces. The tourism department should develop print and electronic information on the key tourist destinations in multiple foreign languages, including English. Digital mobile phone applications and tourism websites should be developed for online booking of hotels, transportation, and other services by the foreign and domestic tourists. To improve physical access to heritage sites for tourists, adequate road, rail, and air networks must be built. Online facilities such as lavatories and tuck shops should be adequately maintained at sites. Some of these are there in Dr. Nadeem Umar's article also that we have posted in the chat room. We don't agree with all of his recommendations and analysis, but we found it very good article. That's why we posted it. Over to Malik Babur Javed. And you are one person for, of course, we have already exceeded time limit, but we don't impose 7 minutes time limit on you because you have to respond to so many questions. Okay, over to Malik Babur Javed.
Your Excellency, High Commissioner, respected officers and diplomats, dear panelists and participants, thank you very much for providing this opportunity to Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation to participate in this very important event and take some of the questions, listen to panelists. I think this was enlightening and educational. Most of the presentations did highlight tourism potentials of Pakistan, and we find a consensus among all the panelists that there is huge potential. The menu of tourism products is wide, and it caters to the need of almost all type of tourists, not only for the local tourists, but also for the foreign tourists. Taking benefit of this opportunity, I would like to very briefly highlight some of the steps that the government has taken to materialize the benefits of tourism sector. I would call them pillars of tourism development policy of government of Pakistan. As we all know, that tourism potential was always there. However, it was not a priority area for a very long time. There were many reasons for that. However, this government prioritized tourism as a cornerstone of its economic and social development. So the first pillar of government's tourism development policy is restructuring the tourism sector. When we say restructuring of tourism sector, it means that the organizations, corporations, and government bodies that are managing and developing tourism, they need to be modernized, they need to be made tech savvy, and they needed to be revitalized. So that process was initiated about a couple of years ago. And now you see that Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation has been restructured. It has its new corporate office in Kosar Block, Islamabad. The provinces have been encouraged to develop destination management organizations in order to provide the best services. And the result, you can see the Riyadh Development Authority, Kumrat Development Authority, Naran Kagan Development Authority. Similarly, in Punjab, you see that Punjab Tourism Development Authority has been developed, bringing all the relevant organizations under one authority. And another legislation is in the process, which is called Punjab Museums Act, because museums are a huge source of attraction for tourists. According to a recent survey conducted by Gallup, there is 325% increase in the tourists visiting museums. So Pakistan is trying to develop two model museums. One is Texla Museum and the second is Lahore Museum. For that, a task force has been established and work is in progress. The second pillar of the government policy is to give leading role to the private sector. It is not the role of government, it should not be the role of the government to give rooms on rent. Neither does the government have the efficiencies and expertise to run businesses. So in this perspective, government has decided to lease out all the government rest houses, guest houses, hotels and motels to private sector. For that, you might have seen in the newspapers, advertisements on the websites of Punjab residential facilities for tourists, and similarly of KP government. The PTDC hotels and motels will also be leased out, and we are currently in the process of finalizing the instrument through which the properties and assets will be handed over to private sector. Another important aspect in this regard is that the government does not want to compete with the private sector, rather give the private sector leading role so that they could utilize their efficiencies in development of the sector. Some of our panelists did highlight the perception issue. Yes, there are perception issues. Pakistan is a safe country. 220 million people live here. However, somehow, because of the negative media and some other political reasons, Pakistan's image abroad has been tarnished. So to do away with that negative perception, Pakistan has developed a comprehensive marketing and promotional campaign. But the marketing campaign must be around a brand. Every country that is now known as a tourist destination, a successful tourist destination, did develop a tourism brand. Some of the examples include Malaysia, Truly Asia, Incredible India, Amazing Thailand, Welcome Scotland. Pakistan did not have one. So I'm very pleased to inform this forum that Pakistan has developed its tourism brand, which will be launched by none other than the Prime Minister himself immediately after Eid in the month of May. That launch will be followed by a comprehensive to tell the people true image of Pakistan, because we don't want to develop the soft image, because the true image of Pakistan is the soft image of Pakistan. One of the problems in emerging tourism markets is the impact on the environment. When the footfall of tourists start increasing, the environment starts suffering. So to ensure that that does not happen, Pakistan has prioritized sustainable tourism development. So in that regard, every new tourism project must first conduct environmental impact studies of the projects. And that is how we want a sustainable tourism development instead of trying to attract quickly and tourists quickly. Promotion of religious tourism is one of the important policies of the government. Our Sikh brothers have mentioned that already. We believe that there are three basically aspects of religious tourism. The government calls this the promotion of religious harmony. This is not just a source of attracting tourists, rather promoting religious harmony. So as Dr. Samad mentioned that the tourism Buddhist trail is under consideration and construction. Feasibility studies are being conducted and the infrastructure is, the work on the infrastructure will begin very soon. With regards to Sikh holy sites, government gives top priority to such sites. Kartarpur has already been developed and work will begin in next month on Panja Sahib. And our Sikh brothers, when they will visit Panja Sahib next time, they will see a lot of improvement and beautification. My last two comments regarding the government's policy is about the structural things. Pakistan, the tourism is a provincial subject in Pakistan. And federal government's role is to coordinate and work with the provincial governments to support them. Just to realize the attention or focus of the government, you can see that in the past 1 year, government has established two bodies to achieve that objective of coordination and facilitation. One is National Tourism Coordination Board. The board comprises all provincial tourism ministers, provincial tourism secretaries, members of private sector, as well as members from the federal government. And the basic objective of that board is to bring harmony and uniformity in the policies. Similarly, the Prime Minister about 4 months ago notified a committee called National Coordination Committee on Tourism. And you will be happy to note that the Prime Minister himself chairs monthly meetings of NCCT, where there are different tasks regarding tourism, and the progress is shared with the Prime Minister and guidance is sought. So these are some of the, I thought these will be some of the points that you'll be interested to listen to, that the potential that you have raised, government is trying to tap that potential. Some of the questions which were raised in the chat box, PTDC models, booking of the PTDC models, as we mentioned, our website also says that clearly that these motels are being leased out. So these are currently closed down. Bookings are not accepted. So all the tourists, they are requested to utilize other private facilities which are available widely and around all tourist sites. Winter sports, you know, there is one arena at Malam Jabba which provides winter sports activities to all the tourists. Some other winter sport activities and arenas, facilities will be developed. They are under consideration. But you will be very happy to note that this winter, all the hotels and motels in the northern areas were full, and the tourism season has yet to start. Regarding the mobile application and a tourist website, I would like to inform you that the government has already established a national tourism e-portal, which will provide all tourism-related information to the tourists. This e-portal will also provide tour planning facility. This will also provide hotel booking facilities. And then this will also have a mobile app both on iOS and on Android phones. As I mentioned earlier, that the Prime Minister will be launching the brand Pakistan, and along with that, this mobile app and e-portal will also be launched. Regarding the infrastructure, for instance, the truck shops and toilets around the roadside, trust me, this is one of the most important top priority areas of the government. So in the next 3 months, the government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will be installing prefabricated lavatories around the major roads. Similarly, the government of Punjab is doing that, and government of GB is also in the process of doing the same. So before the start of next summer season, I assure you that this problem, these prefabricated toilets will also have a sitting area, and then there will be a tuck shop around. So this will be a small area where people can stop for some time, sit down, rest, and then refresh and move on. So I will conclude with my remarks that the government is trying to do all that is possible within the means. However, it is important for us to realize that this is a time-taking process, building new infrastructure, training people, training tour guides, developing softwares, mobile applications, brand, marketing campaign. Work is under progress around all these areas. However, this may not happen suddenly because this is time-taking exercise. So you will bear with us, but with every passing month, 6 months, you will see substantial improvements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Malik Babur Javed. At the end, I shall again invite His Excellency High Commissioner Raza Bashir Tarar for concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. I would just like to briefly touch upon some of the salient suggestions that I noticed in the various presentations. First of all, Farooq Saab, inter alia, pointed out the possibilities of medical tourism. This, I think, is an excellent idea, and definitely should be developed further in collaboration with various hospitals and doctors and specialists. Then Dr. Abdul Samad, he has really educated us about the importance of KPK in regard to Buddhist heritage, and of course the sites important for the Sikh community, including the Samadhi of Hari Singh Nalwa Sahib. And Gandhara Trail, again, excellent idea, spearheaded by the very able tourism minister, Mr. Boparai. And facts like, the ancient nature of the civilization there, and the fact that Peshawar is one of the oldest living cities. These are things that need to be certainly, leveraged. And of course, in regard to the Hindu community also, pilgrimage should be encouraged. This brings me to what Mr. Nadeem Umar said. I think it's very important, excellent suggestion, that Gandhara diplomacy on the pattern of the Kartarpur diplomacy. And one thing that really struck me, having served in Japan and having some clue about the importance of shrines to Buddhists, like, followers of other religions. So I think it's an excellent idea to transform, these sites from archaeological ruins to living shrines. And in this regard, obviously, we can, enlist the support of the Buddhist community in Pakistan. It just struck me, how are we going to man the shrines? And in this, there can be consultation with different organizations. But to have a shrine be like a living, breathing place where people, come and go, pay their homage and all that, we would need certainly the services of the followers of that, of Buddhism. Then again, I think this events, specific events are like the birthday of Lord Buddha, again, an excellent idea. And this is something that can be, publicized all over the world. And Buddhists can be encouraged to visit Pakistan in this regard. फिर सतवंत सिंह साहब ने केपीके से, सतवंत सिंह साहब ने बहुत, जिस तरह उनका नाम का मतलब है ट्रूथफुल, बड़ी अच्छी ट्रूथफुल टेस्टिमनी दी है और बड़ी इम्पोर्टेंट है, मतलब है कि जो उनके ख्यालात हैं, और उससे पता चलता है कि जो हुकूमत के एफर्ट्स हैं उनको सिख बरादरी कितनी कदर की नज़र से देखती है। तो बहुत शुक्रिया जी इनका। और इसमें जहाँ तक हमारी कॉपरेशन का सवाल है, यू विल ऑलवेज फाइंड अस विलिंग एंड एबल टू असिस्ट यू, योर कमेटी। और इसमें यह है कि इसको हमें मज़ीद वाटर टाइट करने की ज़रूरत है और रियल टाइम में, ताकि आप लोगों की तरफ से, आपने देखा होगा कि हमने वीज़ा रजीम को किस तरीके से गवर्नमेंट ने रिलैक्स किया और कितने प्रॉम्प्टली वीज़ाज इशू किए, डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट के अब तो खैर वीज़ाज ऑनलाइन हैं, तो इंशाल्लाह उसमें भी यू विल नॉट फाइंड आवर अथॉरिटीज़ लैकिंग। फिर हुमैरा खान साहिबा ने अगेन, I mean, and kudos to her, and as well as her very able associates. And definitely there are, she has given an excellent testimonial about the different tourism possibilities in Pakistan, something that she has personally participated in. So I think such video testimonials are very important and need to be more frequent and be done. Not that there was anything lacking in what she presented to us, but perhaps with the help of professional documentary makers in various languages with subtitles, so that people can understand them in different languages like Thai and Korean and Japanese. And then again, Jasbir Singh Saab, again, I think very important testimonial from him based on his own experience. और जसबीर सिंह साहब, आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि लाहौर आपका, पाकिस्तान आपका जो है ना, हम तो समझते हैं आपका पहला घर भी है, लेकिन चलें दूसरा घर भी, मतलब है कि यू आर ऑलवेज वेलकम। और बहुत शुक्रिया आपका ये तमाम एफर्ट्स करने का प्रमोशन के लिए। Which now brings me to Babur Javed साहब। तो Babur साहब, at the very outset, first of all, hats off to PTDC and all your efforts. As you yourself said, there is a drive to make PTDC more tech savvy. So in this regard, I think it's important to have very user-friendly websites. Just as a on-the-spot experiment, I just accessed the PTDC website, and then I also went to the Thailand tourism promotion website. So it struck me that the Thai website appeared to be more user-friendly and like giving at one glance kind of packages. So try to make the website more lively. I'm sure things will get even better after the path-breaking developments that we will see after Eid. Now, in this regard, when I say tech-savvy, I think I must confess, there is a certain resistance, probably in the bureaucracy. I remember when I was doing a certain professional course, the use of iPad was kind of frowned upon. And I remember making this observation to one of the directing staff that, when we were in the Security Council, nobody would mind us using smartphones during our Security Council meetings. But somehow it was taboo in our training institution. So we have to understand that the world is more tech savvy. The world is younger. Pakistan, of course, is very young, the population. So I would suggest that, when it comes to accommodation, for instance, this is an oft-recurring concern. I've also noticed it in the chat. So I would urge you to work on something like a park B&B, like we have this Airbnb. And, enlist the support of even locals. You can generate income for them. When you go to a remote area where a Canadian investor has not found worth his or her while to, build something, or a Pakistani investor has not found it, possible, you can enlist the support of locals. That okay, we have tourists, you can accommodate them. It will generate some income for you. And kind of on the pattern of Airbnb, which is very user-friendly, you can find the cheapest deals and so on and so forth. That can be developed. And then obviously, which again brings me to the importance of video testimonials. I remember making these points frequently when I was in Kenya, and in meetings of the World Environment, UN Environment, now they call it Environment, it was basically Environment Program, and UN Habitat. Like we would have these, marathon meetings in which UN officials would, sing the praises of what they had done in different countries. So I used to suggest to them that, rather than burdening us with tons of paper, just a 1 or 2 minute video testimony would do the trick. So real life testimonials, like recently we have seen, those are obviously informal vlogs and things like that. When people have gone to Pakistan and how struck they have been by the excellent, COVID prevention arrangements. Nowadays, we are getting excellent feedback about the COVID vaccination program, which is being conducted by the government of Pakistan. So things like that. It's already, YouTube is replete with those vlogs and all that. But it's important to have those, testimonials. And then, obviously, I think e-portal in this regard would be a tremendous development. So have these, links sent to different missions. We can post them at our websites. Obviously, when it comes to marketing, perhaps we will need something more of a professional thing. Again, that possibility can be explored with the members of our very dynamic diaspora in Canada as well. Doing it as it ought to be done. And then obviously you've raised a very important point about the environmental impact of touristic activities. This definitely has to be kept in mind. So app development, again, brilliant idea, something that people can access with the app. So I'm sure a lot of exciting developments are in store. Now, before I forget, I forgot to mention that Dr. Abdul Samad said about something about exhibition. Now, in Tokyo, I remember there was an exhibition in the I think Ueno Museum, where His Majesty the Emperor and the Empress were there as well. And Pakistan has has gone out of its way to transport artifacts and to relics to Japan. Priceless statues, and obviously it cannot be done that frequently, and so I would urge you to develop something like virtual exhibitions which can be displayed on our website on a perpetual basis. Because obviously, certainly it does not compare with the real life impact of, let's say, seeing, the fasting Buddha with your own eyes, but it can, almost touch that if we, given the logistical, the prohibitive nature of the logistics and so on and so forth. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for enlightening us. I will certainly, send it officially to the government also, the takeaways from this webinar. And again, it's a live process. We certainly intend to remain engaged. This is not a one-off photo op for us. So remain engaged. We are here to help you in whatever way possible. But then again, as Babur Saab said, the engine of growth has to be the private sector and ought to be the private sector. So certainly we are here to facilitate. We also, under the leadership of our brilliant Prime Minister, and then specifically for us diplomats, Shami Qureshi, the Foreign Minister, we certainly have the humility to get out of the way whenever required and not to sort of hog the process. Thank you very much. Aap sabka bahut bahut shukriya. Sat Sri Akal, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency Raza Bashir Tarar sir. We have already exceeded the time limit of this program. We thank all of you for sharing your views and sparing time for this event. I also thank you for your patience, because it was supposed to be a kind of 1 hour and 30-minute thing, but we have crossed 2 hours. And special thanks to Mr. Farooq Arshad, Malik Babur Javed, Dr. Abdul, Dr. Nadeem Tarar, and Mr. Satwant Singh, because they are based in Pakistan, where it's already late. And I am also thankful to Humaira Khan Shami and Jasbir Singh and Boparai, and all attendees who spare time, because it is worth time to whenever we hold such events during working hours, when we post them at our website, at our social media accounts, we get to the 2,000, 3,000 views, even if the number of the people who can join us immediately is far less. Thank you very much again, everybody. Khuda Hafiz.